Let's now cross over to Octavio PINO, a professor at the University of Miami, for more on that story. Thank you so much for joining us here on France 24. Observers have been saying that Diaz-Canel will essentially stick to the party line, the same one on key political and economic issues. So this is not an end of an era as described by many, is it?
Well, it's the beginning of an end to an era, I would say. I say it's the beginning because for the first time, the president will not be someone named Castro. However, Raúl Castro will continue to be the head of the Communist Party, as you know, and he also will continue to be the general in the armed forces, maybe even the Ministry of Defense. So he will keep control to a certain extent. However, Mr. Diaz-Canel is more of a technocrat, so he will probably try to respond to the needs of the economy, and he might be able to be a bit independent and try to connect with businessmen of Cuban origin that are overseas and establish a relationship similar to the one the Chinese had with the overseas Chinese when China restarted the reforms of Deng Xiaoping. Now, I don't think Mr. Diaz-Canel is a Gorbachev, but he could even, with the approval of the party and the approval of the Castros themselves, be the Cuban Gorbachev, and that will, of course, start a new chapter in U.S.-Cuban relations. We will see. We can only see what will happen. It's a move toward the right direction. We need to create win-win situations between the Cubans who are overseas, like myself, and the Cubans who are in the island, because both communities can benefit from win-win situations. And if Mr. Diaz-Canel is smart enough, he will be able to do so.
It's interesting that you just mentioned that it is possible that Diaz-Canel could be somewhat independent. Is it possible that he'll be very smart with this, he'll bide his time and introduce reforms when Castro is completely out of the picture?
Well, that will be the safe thing for him to do, obviously. Wait to 2021, when then Mr. Raúl Castro will be out of the picture. But again, remember, Mr. Diaz-Canel is a product of the system. He was born during the time of the revolution. He lived the period of the revolution as a young man. He has he's been grown through the ranks, so to speak. But he does realize, like all the Cubans do, that there's a need for reform. There's a need for it. But he does. We'll see how much leeway he has.
Professor PINO, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us here on France 24. Thank you for that analysis.